Hello everyone! I'm sure no one expected me to do a Terraria Potion Tier List on this channel, but I saw a few that I strongly disagreed with, and I decided to make one. That's about all you're getting, so yeah. Quick tier explanation, F tier is just has no effect on gameplay, so love potion basically. D tier is this technically has an effect on gameplay, but no one will ever know. C tier is okay. This is like occasionally kind of useful. Like if I have it in my chest, I might remember to use it. Um, and there's like a few situations where like I'm glad it exists. B tier is a consistent benefit. You use this in most playthroughs, even though it doesn't like have a huge impact on your strengths as a player. And then A tier is a consistently strong potion that significantly increases your power and might let you win fights that you otherwise wouldn't. And S tier is like the best potion in the game. Okay. Going in alphabetical order, ammo reservation is the definition of D tier. This technically has an effect on gameplay. You use less ammo, but nobody cares because it's ammo. I just did a Master Hardcore Ranger run where like this would be the run to use this potion, and I just kind of forgot it existed for most of it, and then I remembered, oh hey, ammo reservation exists when I got an ammo box, and I was like, should I go for this potion? No, that was the entire thought process because I never had any ammo issues. Chlorophyte bullets are like the main reason you get this, but chlorophyte bullets suck for DPS, and if you can aim decently, then like any other bullet will do better. There's very few situations where chlorophyte bullets are actually the best option, so their huge cost doesn't really matter. And I guess it would be better for rockets, but that's such a niche use case that I at least personally do not see this as being that useful. Anyway, going from ammo reservation to archery, A tier. This gives a 10% damage buff to bows, multiplicative with all other damage buffs. So this is significantly better than like a Rasp potion for 10% damage. This is kind of like the Trumite headpieces, except it's actually good. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the Trumite headpieces sucking, go watch TerraSteel's video on them. Like in my Ranger run, I ended up using a titanium helmet, the Ranger variant, instead of a Trumite headpiece because it just did more DPS for me, increased my DPS more. But yeah, I'd say this is like a solid example of maybe low A tier. This is a very strong potion in a specific scenario. So maybe I'll move it to top of B tier later, but like this is like low A in my opinion. Battle potion. This is also like low A, high B. I'm gonna put this in high B. I used this almost every playthrough, but it doesn't really allow me to do anything that I couldn't without it. It just speeds things up. But like you will use this in basically every run. It's nice when you need it. It's just a decent potion. Like if you're ever farming mobs, you should be getting a battle potion. It's cheap and it will save you a lot of time. Just make sure to set up a herb farm because you probably won't have Deathweed unless you have an herb farm. So that's the main reason why at least I assume I don't see people using it. Biome Site, F tier, no functional effect on gameplay. I'm not counting getting the achievement for completely purifying a world as a, a, a useful goal to have. I mean, I'm just not counting achievement hunting. I'm counting, does this help me beat Moonlord in whatever difficulty I'm playing, or beat like all the bosses and events or whatever. Because like one of the quests is like do 200 angler quests, and no one cares. Anyway, builder potion, B tier. This is a very nice potion to have. It's similar to the battle potion in that it speeds stuff up that you were doing anyway. So you can build your arenas faster, and occasionally it lets you block off enemies you couldn't, but normally you don't need to spam blocks to block off enemies when you're like exploring and stuff. Normally you can do that with fewer, more well-placed blocks. So it's just a nice, convenient potion that's not cheap if you don't have an herb farm, but if you do, then it's cheap. Calming Potion. Or, sorry, yeah, Calming Potion. Got confused with the Water Walking because it's so similar. This is D tier. Like, I guess it's slightly better than Ammo Reservation, because at least during some boss fights you might want to use it, but, like, I believe you need to fish for this. Hold on, I'm gonna go double check. You can tell this is high quality video production when I'm double checking your recipe mid-video. But I believe you need to fish for this, which means, I think it might be Sky Island fishing. Yeah, damsel fish. I believe that's a Sky Island fish. But, like, regardless, if you need to fish for a potion, it better be good, because that automatically means you can't just make an arbitrarily large amount with a herb farm mid-game. And this does not return the investment whatsoever. Mobs spawning during boss fights used to be a significant problem in past Terraria updates that has largely been patched, and there are other ways to reduce mob spawns that you don't need a calming potion for, that you don't need a fished potion for. So it's occasionally useful if you're like on a high difficulty and you're getting a lot of mob spawns and you can't block them off in other ways for some reason, but this is like a last resort option, so this is like top of D tier. At least I can think of way more use cases for this than like the Ammo Reservation Potion. I'm gonna take a drink of water. This is what I'm talking about with like low effort content. I would normally edit that out, but anyway, Crate Potion. I would say this is like a C tier potion. Funny, we have Builder and B and Crate and C. Like, I guess it technically speeds up crates for fishing, but like those aren't really necessary for anything that I can think of. Like, I guess if you are playing in legendary mode, then maybe you want Sky Island loot before Skeletron, but that's the only real reason I can think of fishing for crates, at least off the top of my head. And even then, like, just kill Skeletron. It's such a fun fight. I have, like, multiple videos where I do, like, early Skeletron. Probably too many. But, like, it's so fun, and it's a genuinely good boss to fight, like, progression-wise. So I don't see why you'd spend that time instead of preparing for Skeletron, fishing. I don't know. I don't see the point. I guess objectively it's like kind of okay. Maybe you're fishing for hard mode ores, but fishing for hard mode ores also sucks. They reworked altars to not spawn random evil blocks, so yeah, I don't really see a reason to ever be fishing for crates. Maybe you want a particular biome weapon, but that's not really optimal gameplay. That's more like challenge run stuff, so I'm gonna leave it at C tier, probably low C. Danger Sense. I'll put this like high C above crate. It's nice if I get it, but I'm never going out of my way to craft this. I mean, it has a cheap recipe, but like, just avoid traps, I guess. That's probably about as helpful as saying just don't die if people don't do that, but like, most of the traps are quite visible. Like, the dart trap is a pretty distinctive color. The pressure plates, for at least the dangerous traps, like the dart trap pressure plates can kind of blend in because they're gray, but like explosive and boulders are both red. So, yeah. And then trapped chests are fairly obvious 99.9% of the time, so this doesn't really help. I'll use it occasionally if I get it for like the dungeon, for example. It's good for cracked bricks, but I never go out of my way to craft this. Endurance Potion, high A. One of the more overpowered combat potions in the game. It's annoying to get, you have to fish, but it's definitely worth it on higher difficulties for particularly hard boss fights. I just did a Master Hardcore run, and as you might guess, Master Hardcore Ranger run, to be clear, and as you might guess, I made significantly more Endurance Potions than Ammo Reservation Potions, because I made 0 Ammo Reservation Potions, because they suck. I made a few Endurance Potions for, pillars and stuff. Yeah, this is just, like, consistently useful for boss fights. The 10% DR is significantly better when you add in other damage reduction items. It goes up to 12% when you have a Wormscarf equipped, which if you're using an Endurance Potion, I'm just going to assume you always have a Wormscarf equipped. I guess the only scenario where you wouldn't would be, say, a Wall of Flesh fight on a Crimson World on a high difficulty, but this is functionally always 12% DR, given that Warm Scarf assumption, which I think is reasonable. So very good potion. Featherfall potion. This is S tier. I don't know if I'll put anything else in S tier, but this potion can completely change the way you play the game. You can use this for every boss fight in the game, and it will be helpful. Uh, if you've watched my No Armor No Accessories series, well, video, I don't know why I said series. I guess like everyone else would make it into a series, but like this carried the entire run. It well, it carried the entirety of pre-hard mode and like a good chunk of hard mode. It would have carried all of hard mode if I hadn't used mounts. And like someone else, Calexos, I think, did a hard mode one where Featherfall was again useful to him in hard mode. Someone else did a run, I think like Wonder Area, did another No Armor No Accessories run on Master mode, but he also he like banned mounts and also hooks. So Featherfall was really interesting there, and I'm going on a lot about challenge runs, which might not seem like they apply to general gameplay, but the challenge runs show how you can use this for boss patterns, and it's useful in general gameplay because it's useful when you don't have a lot of mobility. For example, speedruns. Featherfall is amazing in there. It's amazing for fast, early exploration where you're otherwise lacking in mobility. And even when you do have mobility, say bundle, it can supplement that a ton. And it has a somewhat annoying recipe because you need blink root and feathers, but both of those are farmable. And if you put in the effort, then you can easily have a permanent source of featherfall all game, which just makes everything so great. I highly recommend everyone give this potion a try. It's very easy to become addicted, but it's a good addiction to have because it doesn't take up an accessory slot. It's just a great alternative to wings, and sometimes an addition to wings, depending on what you're doing. And it also works great with the golf cart. Anyway, I've ranted about Featherfall too much, but best potion in the game by far. It's just such good mobility. Fishing potion. It's better than crate potion because fishing power is like more universally applicable, but I'm gonna put it high C tier. I can't really justify it any higher than that. I use builder significantly more, and again, this doesn't allow you to do anything you can't do without it. It's just faster. But it is a significant fishing power boost. 15 fishing power is a lot. Flipper potion. I'm gonna put this right next to ammo reservation potion. I can't recall the last time I've used this, and like even for like challenge runs, you have better mobility options. Like, okay, I'm not gonna say it. Gills potion. These two can be friends. I can't remember the last time I've used this potion either. I mean, I guess when I've been in water and happened to have it in my inventory, I think I might have used it once or twice. But like, there's basically never a reason to use this. Terraria just doesn't have enough water content. Gravitation potion is interesting. I'm gonna rank this. You could rank this in a lot of places. Like, I could see certain people ranking this in A tier, and I wouldn't say they're necessarily wrong. I'm going to rank this in B tier. It is very powerful for combat if used correctly. Combined with Featherfall, you can basically get infinite duration wings before any boss. The issue is it's really confusing to use. It takes quite a while to get used to, but if you do use it, it's very powerful. Uh, Outside of that, though, you only really use it for getting Sky Islands early. That said, early Sky Islands are a nice progression skip. Star Fury is one of the most broken weapons in the game if you get it at an early stage, which these potions let you do realistically. So I'm gonna leave it in high B tier. And oh god, I forgot which luck potion is which. Can I just put them all in D tier? I can't remember the last time I've used any of the luck potions. Uh, I'm just gonna put these all in D tier. Why would you use these? Like, the effect of luck is so small. Yes, these can go next to ammo reservation potions. They technically have an effect on gameplay, but like, someone let me know in the comments if you've actually used a luck potion for something useful, because I can't think of any situation where you do this. I guess you can use it before a major boss fight as like a ridiculously minor damage and DR boost, but come on. Like, outside of that, who cares? And you can't even use it for farming because you have to spend time farming for these, so it doesn't even make your farming faster. Because, fishing. Again, if a potion comes from fishing, it had better be a damn good potion, and these are not. Okay. Heart Reach Potion. This is useful. I don't use this enough. This is like quite good during like Wall of Flesh fight. Any fights that have minions which drop hearts. These are useful. I'm going to put this maybe high C. Yeah. Because, well, actually, I'd say you could probably use this at some point in most playthroughs. Like during the wall fight in most playthroughs, it would probably make it better. Yeah. I'll put this low B, actually, because I don't personally remember to use it, but that doesn't mean it's not good. Like, I feel like you should be using this in most wall fights. I just completely forget it exists, because it does help you get more life. Destroyer as well. Anything with the minions, yeah. Hunter Potion! Okay, so, this is a bit interesting because it uses shark fins in its recipe, which means that you can shimmer these to get the Mega Shark slightly faster. Outside of that, it's just decent all around for not running into high damage mobs on during boss fights on high difficulties. Just like any time you're on a high difficulty and worried about mob contact damage, which can be quite high, it's especially a problem in hardcore. Hunter potions are a good idea. I would put and it can also sometimes just be helpful for boss fights in general, where it can sometimes be hard to see some of the boss. So, Skeletron sometimes, this can be useful. What else? I'm trying to remember which bosses. I know there was another boss that I used this on, and it was helpful, but I can't remember it now. Maybe, was it Skeletron Prime? No, I feel like his hands are mostly visible. Regardless, like, this is like a useful potion for some boss fights. I'll put it next to Heart Reach, slightly above, because I feel like this is more generally useful than Heart Reach. Inferno! This is like genuinely good for Queen Bee. The problem is, I believe it's only in Shadow Chest. Let me check if you can get it from Hell Pots. I believe you either have to Lava Fish, which no one wants to do, or you have to get it from Shadow Chests. Yeah, I think you need to get it from Shadow Chests. I can't find anything on the wiki, but I'm like 99% sure this is from Shadow Chests, which means that you're not really using this for Queen Bee. I guess if you do Skeletron before Queen Bee, you could. Yeah, actually, like, that's like an okay use case. Outside of that, it's like, meh. Like, this potion is just so expensive for such a marginal effect that outside of those scenarios where people get every potion in the game that they can possibly think is applicable to a boss fight to over-prepare, I don't see people really getting this. And even when they do, it's not a game changer. Besides maybe that one Queen Bee scenario. And I've been working on like a possible run where you go like really early Skeletron to get Golf Cart for Queen Bee. So maybe I'll use this potion for that. But even then, I'm not looting Shadow Chest. I'm going directly Skeletron to Golfer to Queen Bee. But you could loot Shadow Chests in that route, so maybe it has a use. I feel like this is like low C, because maybe you can make an argument for it on one boss. I'll put it high C. It feels better than the fishing potions. Invisibility, this is like the calming potion, but you don't need to fish, so it's automatically better. it also hides your character, which makes it a bit more annoying to use. I'm gonna put this like low C, just above Calming Potion. Actually, this is like high D. It has the same problems that no, the not having to fish separates it a tier, I feel. Iron Skin. This is A tier. Such a good potion so early on for like next to zero cost. Like this is actually better than Endurance, definitely. Maybe not in terms of practical effect late game, but it's available much earlier. Early on, it has a more powerful impact. It's easier to get a ton of. Very, very good potion. Life Force, I will put just under Endurance. These two are very similar in that they both increase how much damage you can take before dying, and they both require fishing. Life Force is hard mode, except for Shadow Chest, but that's a limited supply, so you can get a limited supply of this post-Skeletron, and then you can fish for it in hard mode. You can also get this buff from Red's potions on Legendary. The reason it's slightly below Endurance, despite giving a 20% extra life compared to 10% DR from Endurance, is because it's life instead of damage reduction, so it's not as good in that way, because, say, regen buffs work better with damage reduction and defense than they do with max HP, because only natural regeneration scales with max HP, and natural regeneration is usually not going to be your main regeneration source during boss fights. Normally, you're getting flat regeneration that's actually applicable there. Not always, but in general, natural regeneration isn't the majority. So that's a downside, and it also doesn't stack as well. If you have multiple sources of max HP, I mean, there aren't any, but even if you did, it wouldn't stack particularly great, whereas damage reduction can stack. You have the Worm Scarf in pre-hard mode and Turtle and stuff later. And stacking more damage reduction makes damage reduction better. So Endurance is 12% functionally, because you're basically always wearing the Worm Scarf with this, compared to 20% HP. Life Force does have the, I believe, twice as long duration. So I could see an argument putting it above, but for prolonged fights, it's mainly giving you a buffer instead of I can consistently take 20% more damage, whereas Endurance is more consistently giving I can take 12% more damage scenario. Okay. But yeah, you can really put this in either order. Love Potion, F tier, it doesn't affect anything, no one cares. Magic Power, I'm putting this next to Archery because it's very good. I'll put it above Archery because it's a higher boost, even though it isn't multiplicative, 20% versus 10, and you usually don't have more than 100%. Well, I don't want to say usually. I'll just say you very often don't have more than 100% damage going for a class. Like I think I was calculating it, and I had like plus 95% damage in my last like Ranger Master Hardcore run. Well, it was a Ranger Summoner hybrid. That was like Summoner damage actually, because I had a Summoner. I had like Red Riding, lower 2/3 armor, and then I had like the 2 scrolls for 25% more damage. That's 75%. Wellfed's 85, Ras is 95, but I didn't have Ras active, like, ever. Yeah, so it's really hard to get above 100% damage. So yeah, I'm gonna put this above that. Mana Regen, this is a very good potion for Mage. I haven't played Mage in a while, but, like, this is just... Look into how Mana Regeneration works, and this is just a very good potion. Anything that makes you have to use less mana potions is good. I'm just going to double check that it doesn't use anything for fishing. I don't think it does. But if it doesn't, this is just amazing. Yeah, it doesn't use anything from fishing. It's a Fallen Star, but like even still. Get this potion. It's kind of busted. Okay, Mining Potion. I'm going to put this a bit above Builder Potion. You consistently use this. It's good. It's cheap. It lets you do things faster that you would normally be able to do anyway, but if you stack mining speed, it also lets you do some really ridiculous shenanigans. When I was farming for life fruit in my last run, I did a max mining speed loadout with the hollowed pickaxe, the um, pickaxe axe. And oh my god, getting life fruit was so easy. Getting life fruit and chlorophyte. I got like 2k chlorophyte, 2000 chlorophyte, and max HP in like 10 or 15 minutes. And like that was on master hardcore, but it doesn't matter because you're not fighting any of the mobs. You're just mining past them. So like absolutely recommend. People underrate utility potions for hardcore sometimes. They're very good. Night Owl. Uh, I am going to put this. I think high C. Yeah, this is just a nice potion. Maybe I'm overrating visibility, but this is such a nice quality of life potion that costs like nothing. Like, it can really help. Underground, this isn't quite a full Splunker potion, but it lets you see stuff that you wouldn't otherwise see. So, I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this, but like this is C, maybe low B tier. I mean, if Hunter Potion is B tier, yeah, I'm gonna put this B tier next to Hunter. I don't think it's. I mean, actually, I feel like I use more Night Owls than Hunters. I'm gonna put it above Hunter. Yeah, because it's both caving and a general quality of life potion. Obsidian Skin. People do not use this potion enough. It's useful in other scenarios besides just the underworld. I'm going to put this in probably top of B, bottom of A. I mean, you should be using this every run, which means low A. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in low A. Reasoning is, first off, it's amazing for getting Hellstone. Uh, you can get Hellstone so much faster by jumping in lava lakes. And Hellstone is an amazing money-making method on Legendary, and a good money-making method on every other difficulty if you need money for anything. You don't really need nearly as much money on the recent updates, because Shimmer exists for Shimmer Forging, but you still can't Shimmer Forge every item, the non-craftable ones. So if you need money, it's good. And later on, it's still useful. For example, if you have a lava arena for anything, then you'll really want an obsidian skin potion. And also certain boss fights, much later on in the game. For example, Golem and Betsy, they both inflict on fire. And the on fire debuff is a significant part of the difficulty of the fights. Try the fights 2 times, both with an obsidian skin potion and without one. I can't guarantee you'll notice a difference on Golem on lower difficulties, or even on Master, because he's Golem, but try Betsy with and without him. It makes a significant difference in their damage, mostly because it cancels out natural regen. Well, all regen, and you often have a lot of regen in those fights. Okay. God, I can't remember if this is Rage or Ras. I think this is Rage. I'm gonna double check. But like, they're so close in value, except this one is sucks, so maybe they aren't close. So yeah, this is the Rage one, and this is the critical strike chance one. The problem with this is it doesn't do anything for minions. So, and minions are often a significant portion of your damage unless you're doing some like class lock challenge. So it isn't as good as the corruption one. You also have to fish, and it just isn't as good for winning fights as endurance is, because it stacks additively damage instead of additive damage reduction. And damage reduction gets better the more you have. Each percentage point of damage buff gets worse the more you have. For example, if you go from 100 to 200%, if you go from plus 0% damage to plus 100% damage, you're doubling your damage output. If you add another plus 100% damage, so plus 200% from default, you're only adding another 50%. to your damage output. Whereas if you go, say you have 50% damage reduction, and you add another 25% damage reduction, you're now having the damage you take again with only 25% more damage reduction. So stacking a whole lot of damage modifiers isn't really going to do as much as people think. So it's nowhere near as good as Endurance. It also doesn't help with minions, although crit chance is multiplicative with damage, so it is better in that way, but the minion stuff usually overshadows that effect. I guess I'll put this below Obsidian Skin, because it's a fish potion. No, I don't feel this is in the same tier as, like, the survivability items, actually. I don't know, I feel like all of these potions I use more. Like, 10% damage and crit chance in theory is good, but, like, in practice, you don't really care. I'm gonna put this right above the mining stuff. Maybe I'm underrating this, but I just never really see myself using this. But because if I'm really struggling with a boss fight, I usually just get endurance instead and life force if I really need to, and then that's enough to win. Usually if I have those, I'm not also having problems with damage. But strictly speaking, it's theoretically a powerful potion. It's just in practice you have better options to go for instead if you're spending the time to fish. Regeneration! This is A tier. You can really swap these around with Iron Skin, but I'd say in general the regen potion is better than Iron Skin. And it also stays a very good potion for longer than Iron Skin. First off, a regen potion is equivalent to an Iron Skin potion if you take a hit exactly every 4 seconds. Because the Iron Skin gives you 8 defense, the regen gives you 2 health per second. So after 4 seconds, the regeneration potion will have regenerated the damage that you take from one hit. The difference in damage you take in one hit if you did or did not have an Iron Skin. I'd say on average, people aren't getting hit every 4 seconds. Usually you last longer before getting hit again after getting hit. So because of that, I put regen over Iron Skin. But there are certain scenarios where Iron Skin is better. Like if an attack does 12 damage, then with Iron Skin, 12 minus 8 is 4, so Iron Skin has effectively reduced the damage you're taking by 2/3, whereas regen wouldn't be doing that. But in those cases, if you're getting hit for 12 damage, you're probably not in danger of losing the fight regardless. Like, you've already won the fight. The Iron Skin is just making it even easier. Whereas in other cases, for example, where attacks deal, 120 damage, then Iron Skin is only reducing the damage you take by 8. You really care about winning that fight, because if you're taking 120 damage per hit, then, it's not a guaranteed win. The boss could theoretically kill you if you get hit a few times in a row. So you're gonna care about that fight more. And in that scenario, the regenning 2 HP per second is probably more impactful than just taking 8 less damage from a 120 damage attack. That's my reasoning for regen being significantly better in most cases. Shine Potion. I would say this isn't quite as good as Night Vision in most cases, because usually if you care about light, then you have a light source like a Magiluminescence or a Mining Helmet, but a Shine Potion is often one of those light sources early game. And it is incredible in certain situations, like when rushing the underground jungle. So it doesn't stay as good for as long as Night Vision does, but when it is useful, it can be really useful early game and significantly speed up, say, jungle caving. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to say slightly below, but when you do want it for like underground jungle, it immediately goes up to like A tier. Like I'd say right below featherfall. It's like the second best potion for jungle rushing early. Sonar potion. This is like basically a bait conservation potion. But it also means you have to pay more attention while fishing. You have to read up the item name, like why. I don't want to have to pay attention while fishing. I want to mentally check out as much as possible because fishing sucks. I mean, it does let you always use your best bait, and I don't think it's that expensive. I completely forget the recipe again, but I think none of the fishing potions use fish. They just use like weird sea resources and water leaf, and water leaf is a really annoying herb to get. Yeah, water leaf and coral. Coral at least is like easy to get, assuming you have a conch. But water leaf is just annoying because it only blooms during rain, so it can be inconsistent if you don't have an early herb farm. That said, bait conservation can matter, so out of the fishing potions, I'd say it's not as good as the fishing potion, but it's up there. Maybe people who like fish more than me will correct me here and tell me, oh, actually sonar is the best, but I feel like 15 fishing power is generally more useful. Splunker Potion, you should be using this every run. It makes stuff better. You can find stuff with it that you normally basically never find, so by this criteria, it beats basically everything in B tier, and some of the stuff in A tier, I feel obligated to put it over the Obsidian Skin. I don't know about putting it over the damage specialization potions. I mean, it allows you to progress so much faster. Like, would I rather not use Featherfall or not use, like, a Splunker? It speeds stuff up so much, I'm just gonna put this here. It's such a nice potion to have. But, okay, maybe lower than, like, the Specialist ranged and, like, magic stuff. But it's still a very good potion. Stink Potion, no effect on gameplay. Summoning Potion. This is like the damage potion for Summoner specifically. It's not like the other class buff potions because you need to fish, which significantly hinders its tier here. I don't know about this one. Like, I should probably be putting it close to the Rage Potion, except it is significantly more impactful. Like, 1 extra summon is way better than 10% crit. So, but like it's not as good as archery. I feel like this is generally more than a 10% damage boost, multiplicative. I'm just comparing this to, say, the archery, because this is multiplicative 10% damage. Like, if you have, what, 4 minions, like, this can really make the difference in some boss fights. It's just, you know, you have to fish it. Endurance can also make the difference. Yeah, this is kind of like Endurance, in that it might make the difference damage-wise. You're just trying to win the fight through damage instead of damage reduction. Yeah, I'd say I'm gonna put it right below the other class potions, because I feel like you always make these potions for the other classes. You don't always make a summoner potion. Yeah. I'd rather have summoner than Splunker in a summoner run, and I'm like taking into account that you don't always play summoner, but you always have summons. So maybe below Splunker. Yeah, I'll put it there. Swiftness Potion. This is goated if you're doing a no armor, no accessories run. Kinda meh otherwise. I mean, it's nice early if you can't get Hermes boots for whatever reason, but outside of that, it's just acceleration. It's not actually a max movement speed buff when you have boots on, and it obviously doesn't affect movement speed on mounts. Wings also cap movement speed, so like, there's not a ton of scenarios this really matters outside of challenge runs or getting really unlucky with chest loot. And even then, like, I mean, sometimes you do just get unlucky with chest loot. Like, you don't get Hermes boots. Yeah. But then where would you put a potion only for getting unlucky? I guess B tier. Yeah, I feel like you used this maybe less than gravitation. Yeah, I'll put this in B tier. Soren's Potion. Got it confused for a second with the Summoner one in my head. I can't remember the last time I crafted this. What to even... I mean, I know you don't use fish to craft this, but it feels like it's an annoying recipe because I never craft it. I mean, it's a bad potion, but I should know the recipe. I'm going to look that up real quick. This is Deathweed and Cactus, right? I never crafted because of Deathweed. I mean, when are you using this? I don't think it even stacks properly with some other damage reduction items, unless they changed it. Yeah, it doesn't stack with turtle armor. It does stack with cactus, but when are you stacking cactus and swords? Outside of challenge runs. Like, I'll use it if I find it in like some random chest, but like that's also because I just want to get it out of my inventory as soon as possible, and I may as well use it instead of throwing it out. So I feel like that honestly feels more like a flipper potion than anything else. I mean, do I use this more than calming? I feel like calming's genuinely better. I'll put it right below calming. Maybe I'm like dissing this potion too much, but I just can't think of legitimate use cases for this. Titan potion. I've actually used this a couple times. Not in like scenarios that matter for most players. Like it was like I think the last time was like testing some 1 HP, no armor, no accessories stuff for the Wall of Flesh and like hitting back the Hungry. But like it can let you do some stuff in boss fights. I don't think this is a fishing potion again. Like again, this is a potion you so often ignore that I don't even remember the recipe and I again have to look it up for this video. Let's check that. Bone, Deathweed, and Shiverthorn. Talk about an annoying recipe. So this is like post-Skeletron, and you need... I guess the Shiverthorn isn't that bad. Where do I put this? I mean, occasionally it can help you with like one boss fight, which implies it's like lower than Inferno, but you don't need to fish for it. But it's also like less useful. I feel like I used this less than the fishing potions. Is it better than calming? I don't know if I can say it's better than calming. I feel like I use calming more, and it doesn't really... I mean, I guess when you do want to use it, it could let you do stuff you otherwise couldn't, whereas calming doesn't really do that. So yeah, I'll put it above calming. Warmth Potion. This is a weird potion. It can trivialize Deerclops, but like he's also Deerclops, so he doesn't really need to be trivialized. And it can also help with the Frost Moon, with the Frost Queen, which is okay. But you also need to fish for it, but it does have a long duration, so the fishing isn't that bad. I think because of its ability to trivialize a boss fight, even if it is Deerclops, it has to be at least okay. Probably above Inferno, to be honest. Because Inferno, I mean, what does that do for bosses? It has like one use, which is Deerclops. I guess the Frost Moon counts as like a quarter of a use. It's okay. The issue is the main threat during the Frost Moon isn't really the Frost Queens, it's the stupid bullets from the sand tanks. But having more DR for the Frost Queen stuff also helps. This applies like before defense and all the other DR boosts, by the way. So it might seem worse because it's a multiplicative DR boost, but because it applies before defense, it's actually like significantly better than advertised. It just is very situational. I'm gonna put it at... I mean, it trivializes a boss fight, so I feel like it has to be... I'm going to put it top of C tier. A water walking potion. This is nice for Duke Fishron because it lets you go onto the water without making a spot for his Sharknadoes to land. It's also good for exploring the underworld quickly. What else? I feel like those are the main use cases, really. I mean, I guess you could kind of use it for caving. Yeah. I mean, Duke Fishron and exploring the underworld, it doesn't trivialize Duke Fishron, it makes him marginally easier. This is just a utility potion that you can really live without. It's like an okay quality of life for when you want it, and when you do want it is not particularly often. Maybe similar to Titan's potion in that way, but Titan's potion matters more. Matters having it or not more. So I guess it has to go in D tier. Grass potion, it's rage potion, but like better if you have a lot of focus on minions, because it works on minions. But it's also not multiplicative, so it's like, eh. I mean, you're basically always going to have minions, and crit chance is basically always going to be better for damage for your main weapon. So this is better, but not by a huge amount, really. Unless you're a summoner, in which case, like, this is way better because the other one's useless. I don't think this is better than Battle Potion. Maybe it is. I think just because it's usable by summoner, it has to go up a bit. Yeah, I'll put this right below gravitation. I think that makes sense. So yeah, that's the final tier list. And yes, I think that Featherfall is so good that it deserves its own tier. Because, like, if I think about the difference in a boss fight between having Featherfall and not having Featherfall, there's so many situations where I'd be, like, constantly worried about dying if I don't have Featherfall, and not if I do. Whereas, like, the best potions in A tier by far are the Regen and Iron Skin, and even they don't really have that same effect on a boss fight, and they also don't improve general exploration ability as much as Featherfall. So that's my reasoning for the tiers. I believe that this is the objectively correct tier list. I am always right. And if you disagree with me, then you are incorrect. Unless you disagree in an interesting way, in which case you might be correct. But anyway, I could not stand the slander that some of these tier lists have done for Featherfall. This is the only correct rating for this potion. The other ones I'm willing to debate on. Goodbye.